And we're live, episode 13. It took too long to get this particular guest. It's Champ Chat, and we're talking this week with the U.S. national champ, Scott Cramton.
Hi, how's everybody doing? Thanks for having me on Married with Clicks, man. It's very exciting.
Absolutely. And I just want to remind people that we're brought to you in part by HCRealms.com. Click on the shop button and put in the coupon code MARRIED for 10% off your purchase. Also, check out MajesticCCG.com, the Apex Insiders premium site. $3 a month gets you access to articles from some of the great minds, and hopefully Scott will be joining their crew soon enough. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I am the podcast that we're doing, Critical Clicks, should be on Apex Insiders, and I've done an article or two for them. So usually on the freemium section, though. So.
Awesome. So if you're looking for some more from the great mind that is Scott Cramton, check it out. So, but without further ado, Scott, you are one of the old guard of Heroclix. You're actually one of the most successful players of Heroclix that people don't know about because social media is still kind of new to the game. So let's give us the history of Scott Cramton. When you started playing the game, when you got competitive, and some of your accolades prior to this year's U.S. national champion.
Okay, so I've won a lot of things that meant a lot a long time ago, and then have kind of not meant as much recently. Is kind of how it goes. So, I played since the beginning, but I took a big hiatus because I couldn't find anybody to play. And here's a cat.
Internet points went up 1,000.
A free cat. Look at that. Now you can also post this on your tag kitten videos.
That's right.
Basically, I've been playing for a very long time, and I got the idea that I had heard that there was world championships, and they used to run them at the Wizard Worlds. So I started playing in local tournaments. I was driving to Lansing, which I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's like an hour drive, just to be able to play in competitive tournaments. And I did well. I was shockingly well because I'm generally not very talented at anything I try. I'm one of those people that has to do something for just ever, and then I did well. I did surprisingly well. So I literally scraped up whatever money I could. Some people let me kind of just tag along with them because I really couldn't afford it. And I went to the Philly convention, and the Philly convention was lunacy comparative to what they do now, because basically you had to win 2 different days to get to the top. I want to say it was like 64 or something like that. And then, so you made top 64 on the final day. And then for the final day, you did 2 rounds of single elimination. But it was top 64, and they cut to top 8. Okay. Yes. So it's top 64, and they cut to top 8. So it's, you won the first one, you're in the top 32. You won the second one, you're in top 16. Then they cut to top 8. So
it really mattered.
Half the people that went undefeated got eliminated. So I made it. I was in the top table. I made it. I was playing a lockjaw, like multiple lockjaws, and then Jean Marie, who I love. That was my favorite LE piece. Do you remember Jean Marie or no?
The name sounds familiar. I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah, she's Aurora's LE, and the thing that makes her so amazing back in the day is her swing, which was actually a term I wrote for Pojo so long ago. She could just go halfway across the board, shoot you with 6 range. She had, I think, a 12 or 13 movement, like 12 movement and a 6 range. So she had an 18 swing. You could also put a alternate team ability on her, giving her up with her. Sometimes I did Suicide Squad with her. That was very common for me, and I ran a lot of Leanne Harper pogs. And then I used the Iron Fist with like 12 attack, basically. And then, this standard thing, support. And anyway, I ended up playing, and I ended up playing Matt Esbrook in the finals, and I won. And I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe I won. I didn't even know. And they're like, well, here's your prize. And I'm like, there's prizes? I didn't know anything about it. I had no friends, really. All my friends washed out immediately, so they weren't even hanging out. The only people that I roomed with I barely knew from Heroclix. I had nobody, and I kind of won this. And I remember just being at the on the way, the tram, kind of home, and I just had nowhere to put anything, trying to carry this huge dragon and stuff like that. And then they changed the prizes after I won, which was awesome. And they emailed me 2 months later, and they're like, hey, it's a flight out now. You get to, we'll fly you to the next one so you can compete. And I'm like, wow. Really? That's amazing. So they're like, okay, the next one's in Chicago. And I'm like, damn it. Chicago. I live next to Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm 2 hours from Chicago. I'm like, I want to do a flight for a 2-hour drive. So anyway, I went. If this is too long, stop me.
No, keep going. Keep going.
I went to Chicago, and they flew out the LA person to Chicago, which was Canadian Rob, who still plays and is one of the best players. He's won three championships. He's a huge player. So Canadian Rob and me and George was actually in this too. George Masu. I should know it. I'm friends with him, but I don't know it. So they put us in the finals, right? So we were in the top, and this time they didn't really screw it up. It was top 32, but then they added me and Rob. So technically it's 34.
Yeah. So
it was again single elimination, and I ended up I won the first game, so now I'm in top whatever, and then I won the next game. And the next game I played was against Canadian Rob. So I was paired up against the LA champion. And we played each other to basically a standstill. And I squeaked by a minute, literally a last action thing. And so I won the 2 in a single elimination, right, in the top. And I'm like, all right, cool. I've never lost. That was the crazy thing. At that point in time, I had never lost a single game of competitive Heroclix. I won the whole way through. I won every single thing for qualifying. I'd won the Philadelphia Championship. Now I was winning in Chicago. And Wade comes up to me and he's like, well, you are eliminated. And I'm like, I'm eliminated? You fake flew me out here, man. You gave me a VIP pass. What do you mean I'm eliminated? And he's like, we kind of miscounted, and then we could have gotten out of it if somebody who was supposed to win lost, but they didn't. So you're actually the 9th player.
Oh.
Top 8, because we had 34 people, not 32. So whoops. So I'm like, okay. So the first year of Heroclix I played, I was undefeated because I never lost a game. And then I went to Philly again, and then I didn't lose any games there. So I won a second Philly championship. And it was all the way until I played in Los Angeles about a year and a half, 2 years in, where I lost my first game to last year's Team World's champion, Tim Bold. And that was his first tournament. And I got really cocky, I remember, because I'm like, he had 9 attacks on his, he had a 9, he had to roll a 9 or a 10 to hit me. And I just kind of set my poison characters next to his characters. And I'm like, well, I'm fine. And I had protected. I'm good. Every single roll. And just smoked me. So I lost in the, I took 3rd in Los Angeles. And then I, stopped being undefeated. But I was writing for Pojo at the time. I wrote some articles for HC Realms. I've won a lot of different little things. I won, before it was The Rock, I've won Dragon Con. I took first at Dragon Con, and then second at Dragon Con when it was for money. Nice. So, and it was considered The Rock. So I took second at Rock, and then last year I took, I'm always in the 4th or 8th place, kind of forgettable, but I'm usually have a picture like this. So that's kind of my road. That was 2007, 2008. And they considered them world championships at the time, and then they relaunched. They're like, no, now they're just whatever. We don't even care. But ironically, at least they did trophies. Nowadays, they don't do trophies, which I think is weird.
Yeah.
Make a trophy. There's a lot of people playing. Make a damn trophy. They're like $20. Write something on a bowling trophy from a yard sale. But people want trophies, man. If what you have to do, like, to get into this, to be able to win one of these is so hard. Make anything. Like, give us a sticker. Yeah. Something we can put on something to make it seem like, hey, wow, look, you won something. I mean, I have trophies from Clixathon. I have trophies from Dragon Con. The Rock gives you a belt. Like, Isaac right now has a belt.
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, I should also note in this, the 4 Point Gaming Club, we started, when we started, there was quite a few different groups. There's the Hawkeye Gaming Club, the Oregon guys. There's a ton of different groups that were very, very popular, and we started at that time too. And we were like around, Matt Esbrook is part of it, and he was at my first tournament at the final table. So, me and Matt Esbrook played in the very first tournament. So I met him in 2006, and I met Ed that year too. He won fellowship in that exact tournament, and now we've been friends. We've been friends literally so long playing Heroclix that Ed now has a kid who now has won a championship. So, like, Ed's made a new person that has won a championship. That's how long we've been friends. Like, he had time to be a person, Heroclix, and we're still playing in the same group, still sharing hotel rooms, and then that person starts coming along, and then that person's named Isaac. I guess probably he got named Isaac first, but and then Isaac wins the Rock. That's how long we've been playing. We've been playing together for over 10 years. So it's kind of amazing. That's why I love Heroclix. That's why I'm still playing. I play because of those people. So I think I did. Did I make it? Did I make the longest possible answer to a single question in Heroclix history?
Well, it wasn't unexpected. Let's just say that. You have the longest history of Heroclix competitive play of a player that we've had on the show, which is exciting because your name I've seen in the past and is not unfamiliar to some of us who've been at least tracking competitive play for a long time. So it's good to have you on the show. It's good to see you still very competitive and up there. I mean, I remember watching you play in last year's Rock World Cup. I didn't get to go, but I was watching the Twitch stream, and I was like, I know Scott Cramton. Hold on a second.
I'm playing against the worst experience ever because I'm playing against a teammate who is 10 years old, and I'm just thinking, and everybody's watching, and every move I did, I swear to you, every move I did, somebody walked up to Terry, who was judging, and whispered something in his ear. Every move. I'm going to walk out my character, and somebody would be like, he can't do that. That jerk's cheating a 10-year-old. He's cheating a 10-year-old. And I don't generally, I get nervous. I can get very nervous at these, certainly. But this was ridiculous because I'm like, it's on videotape. I can't win. I'm either going to lose to a 10-year-old, which everybody wants, but then I'm the guy who lost to a 10-year-old. Who I know his team too. It's not like a surprise. I play test him in the dang room the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And then, so, but everybody, like literally, Terry had to whisper in my ear like 4 or 5 times, saying like, "How did you get impervious?" And I'm like, from the entity that I have there that has impervious, and like he just kept having to do it. Like everybody was questioning every single thing I did. And what's ironic is, once Isaac won map roll, I'd played the match a ton. The chances of me winning that were astronomical. The only scenario I had was I had to get Despotellus up next to Isaac. If I can crack Banshee just a little bit, then I have a good shot. So what I have to do is I have, Scarlet Witch. So you're rolling like a 23 to hit him. And I'm walking, them up there. I can barely get to him because of the map he chose. And, Isaac had played it maybe 400 times on that map. He knew exactly what to do. And he rolls a 22. He rolled a 22. So I had to burn every one of my Scarlet Witch tokens to start the game. And now I'm like, okay, now he needs to roll a freaking 6 or something like that, a 7, a 6. So he kills Despotellus the next turn. And now I'm like, I'm TKing people up to take shots where I need like a I need like a 9 or a 10. It was a terrible match. I had no shot. I just started walking up anybody, and I'm like, I don't even know how to hurt him. That was the only scenario I had to hurt him, and I lost it immediately. Scarlet Witch isn't a great attacker, but it was cool. Like that being said, Isaac winning the Rock was the coolest moment in my Heroclix life. Just that after celebration, and somebody like a 10-year-old winning the Rock, incredible. That was the coolest thing, I think.
I can imagine being a weird situation. I can't buy him a drink though.
We bought him milkshakes. We went out to Steak and Shake and we bought him milkshakes. So
there you go. That's actually a really good idea. Wicked doesn't like milkshakes, right? So all right. So now we've got a little bit of history. Now it's time to get into the closer to the present. And the U.S. Nationals. Now this year it was run alongside Worlds, so a lot of players kind of missed that you had won, which I think is its own decision that needs questioning. But tell us the harrowing tale of U.S. Nationals. Go from testing right to the tournament. Well,
I had lobbied a lot to get Zombie Team Base retired. I felt like it was ridiculous that Zombie Team. I didn't understand. Like almost everything that nerfs Zombie Team Base went out with the retirement.
Yeah, exactly.
Zombie Team Base is overpowered, and Adam Friedman put it where Zombie Team Base is a kind of thing where it escalates with you, meaning like it doesn't have a cap. Like you can only be so good playing with Krang, right? Like you only have a couple options. You're going to pick those options. Zombie Team Base is cool because it has about 1 million options. Zombie Super Scroll, picking powers. You can always pick a different power, and the more you play with it. So I immediately was thinking I was going to play with it, and I started play testing a little bit, which is hard in Grand Rapids because nobody plays. And I got to play a college professor because it's summer, and I did that. And I kept saying I'm not going to actually play the Zombie Team Base. I'm not going to play it because he kept coming up with things that almost beat it. Over and over and over, we'd play test, and he'd almost beat it. And I'm like, oh, this isn't as good as I thought. I don't want to play this. And then when we finally got to the tournament, because I don't play, I don't get a chance to play at all. I play just intensely for a very short amount of time. So when we get up with a 4 Point Gaming Club, I'm there on Tuesday. One of them lives in Phoenix. Two of them live in New Jersey. So we just intensely play from dawn to dusk. I play with Steven Plaskow, and I play the Zombie Team Base, and I kept play testing them with that, thinking that I was going to move to the Quinjet, because the Quinjet's a lot more fun and not something I petitioned against. But to be fair, I did tell them I was going to play it. I'm like, if you don't do this, I'm going to play it and win. So anyway, fast forward to the actual tournament, and I'm like, I got to play Zombie Team Base. It's the only thing I'm proficient in because I kept testing their teams with it. So I won the first round. First person I played against, Matt Esbrook. So he's playing Zombie Team Base. I'm playing Zombie Team Base. But he had about 17 hours less play testing because he got there on Wednesday. So he'd only played the Zombie Team Base like once or twice. And to his credit, he went 2-1, which is pretty good for not playing anything. He played it one other time in his life.
Yeah.
So I beat him in a narrow victory. I killed his team base as last action was being called. Otherwise, it would have been a tie. And I wouldn't have made it because I was the only 2-1 to get in. So I lost the next game to this incredible player playing, I don't know his name, but he has a big beard, and he was playing a 10 robot team. So to give you an idea of what that is, I'm playing a theme team. I rolled an 11, and I lost map roll. 10 robot team. Who has a 10 robot team? Who has 10 people?
Yeah, I remember the player, too, because that beard was unmistakable.
He was great. So I immediately... He played 2 Zombie Team Bases in a row. After the first round, he had 1,200 points.
Oh.
Yep, 1,200 points after that round. So basically, I ran up to him, and I was so hard trying to chain this zombie thing together that I lost, and he had first turn called in Superman. So he had all his drones on invincible, basically, or almost all of them. And he called in Superman Blue, and he did something that was really clever. It wasn't it sounds like a dick move, but it really wasn't. Right as I'm calling powers with Super Scroll, I was going to call Hypersonic Speed, Super Strength, Invincible Prob, and he's like, "Don't forget I have Invincible." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." And then I'm like, "Pulse Wave," and I'm like, so I called Pulse Wave. I set up my turn. I'm like, "Oh,
Superman Blue."
So I pulse waved his team. I pulse waved a single figure, and yep, he's like, "Cool, 0 damage." And he's like, "My last opponent did that too." And I'm like, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I made that kind of mistake. I got a lot of points off him. Because even if you kill my Super Scroll, the zombie team base can take out a lot of things. So I got a lot of points on him. And I got 460 points off Matt Esbrook. And then I won the next game pretty handedly. I won 300. And so I'm sitting there, I'm thinking I didn't make it, but I start checking other people's points. I'm like, maybe I did make it. So do you guys want the crazy story that happened, though? Like the anti-Whiz Kids craziness?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, it's your talking ground, sir.
So here's what happened. The people who knew they made it, who were 3-0, because 3 rounds of Swiss is weird. I don't know why they did 3 rounds of Swiss. Nobody knows that. It's a weird amount of Swiss. And if you're doing that kind of Swiss, you should cut to top 16, I guess. Would make that a little bit more fair, but they did it. So really, Swiss almost didn't matter. But people started coming up to me and saying, "Hey, you can't play in the Worlds tournament. You can't play in Team Worlds if you make it in." I'm like, "You can't? What?" And I was really kind of upset about that. And they said, "Hey, the top 8 are planning to boycott it." And I'm like, "Really? Okay." So I start gathering the top 8, and we start talking about it. And we gather all top 8, and 7 of the people are adamant about boycotting it. And these are people who are amazing, like Majestics, Pat, Easton Brock has somebody in there, and George Masu. Masu. I got to call George.
King George. Let's call him King George.
King George. So King George is there. And 7 of the people are absolutely, this is crazy. We'll play tomorrow. So then one of the guys is like, "Oh, I'm not here tomorrow." And I'm like, "You're not here tomorrow? Who's here on Thursday and not Friday? Seriously, who goes to the tournament Thursday and not Friday?"
Yeah.
And he was there the next day. So then he's like, "Well, I don't know. I could do it or not. I'll roll for it." And I'm like, "Yeah, 7 players here." And he's like, "I'll roll for it." So anyway, he's like, "Oh, it was evens and not odds. So I guess I don't want to boycott it." And I'm like, 7 other people, this is why unionizing's hard. So we talked to them about it, and they were really upset, like visibly angry. Some of them walked away from me when I was talking to them. I was talking reasonably, but they were just furious. So I did end up making top 8, and the judge, who's a nice guy and a volunteer, to be fair. Volunteers shouldn't be handling boycotts, to be fair. That's not a good scenario. He's just told to do what he's doing and stuff like that. But he's just pointing to everybody. He's like, "Are you in or are you out?" And just like shouting at us. And he gets to me. He's like, "Are you in or are you out?" And I'm like, "Well, are we going to be able to play the first round because it's only 3 and that Worlds doesn't start until 4, and then we'll see from there." And he's like, "In or out?" And he just keeps shouting it. And I'm like, "I'm not going to answer you, man. I'm not going to answer to you shouting in my face. Tell me these other answers because they affect my decision." He's like, and then he eventually answers some of my questions, and then they decide to not take a break so that we can get in most of the first round, but they're also saying that you can't. So it's a big thing, and we just immediately sit down and start playing. So it's already kind of like a weird nationals. There's no like, "Yay, I'm in top 8. It's like, "Oh, shoot, I'm in top 8. I got to get out of this." So because you're screwing over your teammates.
Yeah.
You remember school, right? Like you might miss an assignment that you had to do, but you're not going to miss an assignment that like you're like 3 other people or 2 other people. Then you're really dicking over your teammates. I drove to meet with these guys I've been playing with for 10 years. I'm not going to dick them over right at the last minute. So, I don't want to play, but I ended up sitting down the same 10 robot army guy. And this time I ended up beating him, in part, I think, because he's playing really fast. We're both playing really fast, and that seemed to benefit me, I guess, in that scenario. And I had some good rolls. So now I make top 4, and then they're like, all right, we can play this tomorrow. I'm like, oh, okay. So that benefited me quite a bit, to be honest. And it benefited everybody because everybody in the top 4 knows who they're playing and can play test. So I play tested George's team against George's team for at least 9 hours.
Oh, wow.
I played until like 1 in the morning, sitting down with people like my teammates and Adam Friedman. I went over some stuff with a few other people that are great. And then I got up in the morning. I played Team Worlds. In Team Worlds, we took 9th, so we didn't make the cut. So then I had like a ton of time. So I played with Adam Friedman for like 2.5, 3 hours, just back and forth, trying to figure out how to beat George's team. So then I'm finally playing George's team, and the top 4 in this. Did you hear who the top 4 was?
It was you, George, King George, Easton Brock, and Patrick Iboko.
Yeah, that's a crazy good top 4.
That's insane. Top 4.
I do not deserve to be in that top 4. That was a crazy good top 4. So, George's team is brilliant, and it's tier 1 meta. So your people looking at home right now, it's gotten a lot better since retirement. This can beat the Quinjet. It can beat any of the teams. This is a amazing team. And it's Lex Luthor, the 200-point subterfuge one, with the ID character of 200-point Wonder Woman with the Charge Flurry Mystics, the ID character of War Machine, and the ID character of Nick Fury. And then it has 2 Atomicas. The 2 Atomicas are brilliant because basically you can't single target pulse wave him, which would make it so much easier. You have to get rid of these Atomicas. Now he ends up putting the Pandora's box on the team, and I think there's a couple different ways to do it. He uses Sloth on Lex Luthor, and he's King George, so he's brilliant. So he's probably making the right call. But I really liked it, and I was playtesting assuming he put the plasticity thing on Lex Luthor, because if you have sidestep plasticity on a 200-point figure, you know who you are? You're Mystique, but you're 200 points. Now they don't worry about anything. It's incredible. It's an incredible team, and George is so freaking brilliant. Adam Friedman had counted out, and he's like, you got to stay 9 squares away because you can't let Wonder Woman hit you with the team for the team base first. If you do, you lose the game. And he's right. If he pops off Nick Fury first, I win. It's that simple, because now I can just heal my figures up in a corner using Super Scroll to defend heal. And he can't see through, nothing he can do. And if I heal the team base at all, I win. Then if he pops off War Machine, which he's so likely to do if I'm 9 squares away, why wouldn't he do that? Because it's going to hit me for 6, and he can follow up with Wonder Woman logically, and that's going to work. That should work. But I play George for the first 40 minutes positioning. Yeah. Really boring stuff. They didn't care enough to put this up on their site or save the Twitch feed or whatever. They literally just didn't care about nationals enough. But so you can't watch it, but 40 minutes of it is me doing this to the camera, and I like playing with the little Heroclix figures across the thing. And we don't attack each other for 40 minutes. We're literally just positioning. George unbelievably will not pop off an ID figure until he gets the shot with Wonder Woman. And he doesn't have to count squares. He can just see it. I'm sitting there trying to figure stuff out. It's like a frantic frenzy for me. And he's just like, here, and then I move here, and then I move here. And I'm like, how are you this good? How are you this smart? How do I? So after 40 minutes of positioning, he ends up basically putting his figures with no action tokens on the edge of a building, because I did win map. It's the first time I had won map. with my theme team. First time I had one map. So he puts his figures in the edge of the building, and I remember something Isaac had said that we had dismissed as a terrible idea. And he's like, what you could do, Scott, is you could pick Force Blast with a Super Scroll and Pulse Wave. I'm like, well, wouldn't I be Pulse Waving my own team based off its invulnerability? He's like, yes. But if you could hit them into a wall, it would be worth it because they lose the fight and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh my God, George positioned in a way where he's going to pop off Wonder Woman and hit me next turn no matter what I do. Yeah. Because he's that patient and he's that good. So I end up getting him and I roll like a 3. And I'm like, oh my God. And I can't re-roll with the team base. I have re-roll with Super Scroll. And I re-roll with Super Scroll. And I hit just Lex. Literally the worst possible option. Yeah. Because I hit the 2 Atomicas, I kill them both. I'm up on points at least. He doesn't have the re-rolls he had before. I just hit Lex, and I have nothing to do. I'm just like, okay, I dealt 3 damage to Lex, which is pointless. He still has the leadership that removes the tokens off him. Yeah. I did everything wrong, basically. So then George pops off the Wonder Woman, cracks my team base, but he shouldn't have popped off the Wonder Woman now because I clicked my team base down 1 because of the Pulse Wave. So he hits me with the Ultra Heavy Object on to Cannibalize. Yeah. So now I cannibalize it, and he's like, oh, shoot. But this is where he actually somehow made a mistake. He didn't attack my Zombie Super Scroll. It ignores characters, and he placed Lex Luthor in a situation where I could actually have Sidestep, because I just have it, Force Blast, Pulse Wave, single target. So I Force Blast, single target him off a building again, because he had sidestepped onto the building with Lex, and I hit him for 5 and I killed him, and somehow I won. So that's how I beat George, which in testing, the reason I tested it so much is I never beat it. It just doesn't win. If he doesn't make a mistake, if he pops off Wonder Woman first, it beats it about 100% of the time. So he even dared me early on to Pulse Wave my team, to single target Pulse Wave his Luthor, because he knew if he takes 5, it just doesn't matter. Because then he kills Super Scroll, and then I can't Pulse Wave him anymore, and then that's game. Yeah. So Pat was then I'm in the finals. I'm playing against Pat, which I had play tested a lot against the Quinjet, and I won the map roll, which is everything. If you pick that Tillian map, you have he can't position very easily in a way where I don't have lines of sight to him. So then what I do is I just have to kill his Ultron drone and get his other Ultron drone to kill his Ultron drone. Right. And I just killed everything. I went. What happens if you win something like a championship is a lot of times you just don't miss, and that's what happened. I even hit my Super Scroll roll of a 6. Nice. And Pat looked at me and was like, it's going to be one of those kind of games, isn't it? But in tribute to Quinjet, which is probably going to be 50 to 80% of the field from here on out, it still could have beat me. On turn 3, I had the Quinjet down to click like 14 or 15, and he still could have beat me. And he had no other figures. He had an Atomica, which is pointless for his team. So, so I won. Yeah, and that's kind of the story. The George thing was a lot more harrowing. Pat is obviously the best player in the world, and I should be. And he's a great player, but if you don't set up right, he didn't have like a lot of choices. Yeah. I don't know what he would have done differently. There's nothing to do. I basically killed him on turn 3. And now he's just hoping he rolls a lot of super senses. So. Yeah. All right. Well, it's an awesome story, and congratulations, of course, because it's no small feat to become a national champion any nation. No, it was nice. That 24-hour period where I was a champion was nice until I was shadowed by 2 other championships. Yeah, that's what I'm the king of. If people want to know, like, well, what are you good at? I'm like, I'm good at winning championships that nobody cares about anymore. And immediately they're like, the next day they crown a world champion and another team world champion. Yeah. So they're like, you were literally like 5 people said that was yesterday's news, you winning that championship, and I'm like, Yup.
It literally was yesterday's news.
Literally yesterday's news, and there's been a lot more better things that came out. So I beat Pat. That was a win. And I can make fun of him for it. It probably helps the podcast because our podcast is like Majestics versus, 4 Point Gaming Club. So that's kind of cool, but yeah, I'm happy. I'm excited. It's something I won. So yay.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't think they should ever do the national championship at the same time of Worlds ever, because that's pointless.
Yeah.
Why is there even a national championship then?
Yeah. And that was going to be my next question is if given the choice, I mean, obviously none of us really liked the way that it ran as far as keeping U.S. nationals there. For one, it takes away from whoever wins U.S. nationals. Two, it becomes a logistical nightmare. But if you were to say where should they hold it, I know there was talk about it being in New Jersey this year, but then they created the WKO and then they created the auto qualifiers from WKOs, and then it just became a nightmare.
Well, the story that I heard, the background is they did have a location, and the location fell through, and then they're like, forget about it.
Yeah.
So, where it should be held, I do think that the biggest base right now is in New Jersey, but that is a little unfair just because Origins is held much closer. So I think there's a strong argument for it to be played in Los Angeles as well, because what are they doing on the West Coast at all?
And there's a lot of great players out in the West Coast. I mean, you got Aaron Cantu, you got Patrick Boko, Kevin Fruz. Even up in the northern parts in Canada here, we have Rob Berzul. And I know Patricia moved south of the border a little while ago.
Yeah, they took your one good female player in all of Canada and took her to Ohio.
Yeah, Amber's been doing push-ups to get better lately, so I keep hearing I the Tiger in the background, but
there's more than one good female player. Patricia's just exceptionally good.
Yeah, she crushed me in the single world, so on camera nonetheless. Like, oh great, this is gonna be the one I get on the camera, eh?
Oh, nice. Yeah. Man, congratulations for playing on camera though. That's awesome.
Yeah. This last year, I'd say, because Canadian Nationals had quite a few games under the camera and won them all. This year, the camera was not nice to me. Canadian Nationals, I lost 2 out of 3 games on the camera, and the one game, 100% of my games at Columbus at Origins, I lost under the camera, which is weird because I'm the guy who's used to being under the camera. So
yeah,
what happened?
Maybe you didn't have the adrenaline of other people then.
It could be it. I didn't have the panic adrenaline or a number of things going my way. So
I think they avoid me putting me on camera because they talk to me and they know how much I swear. And they know I always do weird things under the camera. So like I started when what was it, when we were playing? Yeah, because me and George were playing so long, and they came up to us and they told us, just so you know, declare your actions a little bit more because we're commentating and the people at home can't hear you. And are like, oh, they can't? So then me and George started saying things of not really what we were doing. So I'd be like, I'm going to phase to here, and then I'd sidestep. George would be like, all right, I'm going to declare flurry, and then he'd pass. Stuff like that. Screw them. So,
yeah. I know in mine, I think halfway through the game, I realized this wasn't going to be a win. So I just started just joking and trying to keep my smile up and trying to joke with Patricia. Patricia was trying to secure the win. And it was like, yeah, I can't take this away from her. She wants to win, and she's already got the win. I don't know if she realizes it yet, but I'm going to throw everything I can at her while making everybody laugh.
What did you play? Or is this Worlds Qualifier you're talking about?
No, I had already qualified for Worlds from Canadian Nationals. This is actually the singles in Worlds, the actual tournament. I was playing triple Superman with a round table, and everybody said too early because the zombie team base still existed. But I got beat by Coriander of all things, so I mean.
That's a hard beat. How do you get beat by Coriander?
I couldn't hit. It wasn't for lack of attempts. I did make a good solid like 8 or 9 attack attempts, but Patricia's team had Coriander with a Pandora's box, which means all of her defenses were 20. Regardless of where I was hitting her from. So I needed 9s with my Superman with the wall. I attempted a Pulse Wave with Black Canary, which didn't go through. And the last character on my team ended up being Nova because I did hit number 3 on the round table.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I threw everything I had at her, and none of it wanted to stick. So
I had the exact opposite happen to me for Worlds qualifiers.
Yeah.
I lost the first one to Faust because, well, Faust can beat anything, right? Or not Worlds qualifiers, I'm sorry, Worlds.
Yeah.
So I lost the first one, but I got a lot of points. I was like a 240-point loss. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. I killed an ID character he called in. I'm feeling strong, feeling solid. And the next person I sit down to, a great player. I think he had won some stuff in Mexico. And I kid you not, I attacked that team that you're talking about, the exact team you played. I attacked it 12 times with Pulse Wave. 12 times I missed with Pulse Wave.
Yeah.
Wow. And he was the most patient man in the world. He let me put the Super Scroll back on the team base 3 times. 3 times. And he killed my Magneto. I hit my last Pulse Wave roll at the very, very end for the nothing that mattered. But like I had 12 Pulse Waves. I was rolling for 7s and 8s. I mean, sometimes 9s, but mainly 7s and 8s. And I had 12 shots, and I'm like, I'm not going to win Worlds. I am not qualifying for Worlds if I can't hit these Pulse Wave attacks. So, yeah, the downside is everyone's like, oh, you lost? Must have been a fluke. But Nationals was a fluke. And I'm like, yeah, it was.
Well, beyond that, let's talk about this new thing that they added to the U.S. And Canadian National Championship, which is you get to tell Whiz kids to make a figure, is my understanding. You don't get full design choice, but you get to kind of say, hey, make this for me. Is that am I understanding it correct?
Yeah.
Now, what are you telling Whiz kids to make?
Well, I'm super grateful for the win. I am, and I'm not trying to sound ungrateful. And any kind of prize is great, you know. This is a really weird prize. I much would have preferred, almost anything else, like a trophy or an ATA or, I don't know, a picture with them. And the reason, it sounds really cool, right? It sounds like I'm like, make Elvis. He was in a comic book, make it. And that would be cool. But you have to pick down 5 figures. So immediately you don't get to pick the figure you want. You have to pick 5 figures.
Right.
Is what I was told. They haven't talked to me about it at all. And then from kind of what I've gathered from the other players, and I'm allowed to talk about it because they haven't talked to me yet. I have no, they make you immediately sign that non-disclosure.
NDA, yep.
But they haven't talked to me, so I have no non-disclosure. They told me 5 figures. They kind of offhandedly told me. I'm like, oh, I get an ATA. And they're like, no, actually it's 5. Pick one of 5 figure, or, do 5 figures. But then if they don't like those figures, they can just be like, no.
We don't want to make these.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're like, are you sure by Spider-Ham you didn't mean Spider-Man? We're making Spider-Man. It's yours. Congratulations. We're making Spider-Man. So I'm trying to find things they won't possibly make and then kind of tilt it towards what I want to make. I've wanted to make Zombie Stiltman forever. That's what I've been trying for, but then they just announced a Stiltman, so now I'm kind of confused. Yeah. There's that egg. Have you ever heard of the egg foo guy or whatever that Wonder Woman used to fight?
Yep, I've heard of him. Yeah,
it's this incredibly, just absurdly racist egg. It's a Chinese stereotype, but an egg. Like a giant egg, and he really does crack. Like, Wonder Woman just cracks him, and then he spawns new eggs. He's like, I grew another egg in my head. And he only talks in a horrible Chinese accent. Like, it's back from when, you could be super racist and everything was cool. So I'm debating, I might put him on the list. Then Obama. Obama's definitely making the list because he was in Marvel Comics.
Yep.
I was told that there's George W. Bush in a Marvel Comics. So I'm probably going to put him on the list. I'm just going to put
Ultimates. I think there was.
What's that?
He was in one of the Ultimates, if I remember correctly.
Yep. So I'm assuming they have rights to George W. Bush. I was told maybe just to put what you want and then the Fantastic Four. So they technically have rights to Hitler. So I thought that would be a good one that they wouldn't make. They also have rights to Hitler's clone because Hate Monger was Hitler's clone. So I'll probably put those two on there because I'm feeling like they won't make Hitler. But then out of spite, just to screw me over, they might make Hitler and be like, as designed by Scott Cramton.
And then you're named on it. It's like, uh-oh.
You put it on your list. What up, bro? So, yeah. Did you how did you do in Canadian Nationals? Did you win?
I got third.
Third. Okay.
Yeah. So,
congratulations. Third's big.
I was the best Canadian. That counts.
Yeah. I feel your pain. We have a Michigan State Championship, and all the Ohio guys. So number 2 in Worlds comes down. Tim Bold comes down. Nick comes down. These people are absurdly good, and they all come down because Ohio and Michigan hate each other so much.
Yeah.
So they just try to steal our championship because screw us.
It's a good rivalry to have. I mean,
yeah, it is. There was an actual war. A lot of people don't know that. People died. There was an actual 50 people died. Like, there was fighting. We fought for, I guess, Ohio used to run the Upper Peninsula. And then we used to have a lot of Toledo and stuff like that. So, yeah. The joke's on them. We voted Bernie. They voted Hillary. So screw those guys.
Get out. Get.
Oh, man. What is it like in Canada? Tell people real quick. What is it like to not, if you break your arm right now, I've heard you don't have to, file for bankruptcy. Is that true?
It's absolutely true. You just have to wait in line.
You're in America too, right? Like, for some reason, they always say, like, oh, well, you have to, you just get right in. You don't get right into a doctor.
No.
I'm sure if you're bleeding, you get right into a doctor in Canada?
Yeah, as long as you're bleeding on the nurse, you're good. And they ask you, how much does it hurt? On a scale of 1 to 10, it's like, it's an 11. Get me in there.
How long are the lines?
It depends on how many people decided that the sniffles is a reason to go into the hospital. And sometimes if they see a certain number of non-essential, like, okay, this guy's got a cut on his finger, we're going to give him stitches, get him in right away, but this guy is complaining about chest pain, so just get him over there somewhere. They'll split into like clinical versus emergency care. At least it's the hospital that's near here. That's what ends up happening. And of course, if you're giving birth, they get you in right away.
Well, I mean, you have a family doctor though too, don't you?
We have a family doctor, but the lines aren't usually there because we just make an appointment and you're good.
Yeah, this is what we do in America. Yeah. So I have the same thing. If we go to the emergency room, we're waiting 2 to 3 hours right now.
Yeah.
Even if it's bad, is that about your wait?
2 to 3 hours if it's something you're going to survive. If it looks like you're about to die on them, they'll get you in. But yeah, 2 to 3 hours is what we're looking at.
Yeah, it's the same system. The difference is if I go, it's like $10,000.
Yeah. Yep. And it's across the year, you see it on your taxes here. So, our income tax rate is quite high. I bet I'm about the same. What is yours? I'm at about 20%, I think, is what our income tax is right now.
So yours is 27% less than mine. Yeah. I pay 47% for income tax right now.
Jeez.
And we get nothing. I get a library and a fire department that sometimes charges you.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Wow, I didn't think it was that different.
Oh, yeah, it depends on how much you make.
That's true.
So, I'm in the tax bracket where it's 47%.
Yeah. And I am in a bit of a lower tax bracket myself because even though I am employed with a company that does require my education, it doesn't pay me like I got my education. So,
well, we should probably get back to clicks, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, what I wanted to talk about, and this is a question I actually posted to Patrick as well this past week. The meta going forward, we're going to lose the zombie team base in, what do we got now? In days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more days. And that zombie team base is that a competitive play? So what are you seeing for the new meta? And have you seen anything from Spider-Man that makes you go, ooh, and might actually make it out there?
From Spider-Man, all Spider-Man sets are basically the same, right? They're annoying, and they cause you to use Pulse Wave more because they're like super, super senses.
Yeah.
and super senses is the worst thing ever. I don't see anything from Spider-Man, although there's something, but they never released the something. That always comes out. They never preview the something that's going to be. I'm excited about Colossal Retaliation Stiltman. Any new Colossal Retaliators immediately deserve a look. So anybody with Colossal Retaliation deserves a look. But I think the new meta is, I think Quinjet is major, but do note that Quinjet took a huge hit. Without Nova, it is a lot worse. Nova was big. But the theory would be that somebody's going to have Pulse Wave in the next set or two before the Rock with meta. I don't like SAS, which is what we call the Superman, Atomica, Superman, oftentimes Superman thing, as much as everybody else. I think it's very tier 1. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a reasonable, reliable build. But I don't like – it's not something I'm going to play. And the major reason is I don't play things unless they have Pulse Wave.
Right.
I'm not going to, because what does a SAS build look, a SAS against SAS matchup look like? It looks like who can hit a 10 or 11. That's a terrible matchup. So I wouldn't play that. I do like the huge Ultron drone charging up the Avengers Roundtable thing. If you're asking me what would I play right now, I would 100%.
The cat was trying to keep the secret.
Cat video. I would 100% play the Luthor team. Variation on that. Lex Luthor and how they've ruled it and how much less Pulse Wave there is right now, and the fact that he can take off tokens from himself. But him with plasticity, you can't target him. You can only see him with Pulse Wave. He can sidestep for free. I've seen the forums. I don't know if you read through that, like 14, 15 pages of how do you trap Mystique. Have you ever seen that in AC Realms?
I saw the pages and I didn't read through it myself.
I read through every one of them. And here's the answer. Basically, impossibly. So if you happen to be indoors and you have barrier, of course you can trap Mystique. Right. But by the time when the barrier comes down, you're not next to her at the beginning of the turn. So it doesn't work very well. So you have to have a 7-figure team, all this different stuff, and it's just insane. So you can't really trap her. So now you have Lex Luthor, who's 200 points. You lose Nova, which really what you have to do with Luthor is you have to hit him for 2 clicks to get him off of his leadership. Because if he removes a token every turn and you use that Justice League ATA and you can re-roll leadership, he has a 50% chance, and then he can re-roll it. So now he's a character that can action every turn. You have some amazing ID cards. ID cards are only getting better. Yep. I would do that because it's safe. I almost played the Luthor team for Worlds, and frankly, I wish I had. Because I think I would have qualified with Worlds for the Luthor team because nothing beats it. But Avengers Roundtable is really fun. If you can play a 10-figure team that has to soak up a lot of damage, and you're calling in an ID card every single turn, I think it's really fun. I think Quinjet at 80 points is something that people are not playing, and I have no idea why. Or is it 75 points?
75.
75 points. Quinjet at 75 points is amazing. I don't know why nobody's playing that. Everybody's like, well, then you can kill the Quinjet. But you have a lot of points left over then, too. And you can put in a lot of ID cards. You can do a lot bigger Ultron drone army so that it's not so obvious. And the Quinjet's just plain good. And you can, once you get up to 9 or 10 ID cards, that's solid. And the Quinjet is protectable, it's not that impossible. So, Quinjet and Nighthawk. I love Nighthawk. Nighthawk and Barrier would beat almost everything in the format right now. And we're just not seeing a solid Nighthawk build, which is weird. I think Kenny Pena has one. I think he has 80 point, or 75 point Quinjet. And then he has Nighthawk Prime. And then he was using Super Scroll or Zombie Team Base. But there's a build in there somewhere that I think is really brilliant.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's still things to be seen. But, yeah, I agree with that. The the 70-point Quinjet definitely has a place somewhere out there, and I'm just waiting.
I don't think anything will be released that's better than Ultron Drone's ID cards.
Oh, that's a given.
And Jean Grey, what happened to Jean Grey? Nowhere in Worlds.
Yeah, the 50-point one that we were all talking about. It's like free action TK. That's a great thing, right?
It is. And I think it will come up. The problem with it is what beats it really hard is Quinjet for the most part.
Yeah.
But I mean, who doesn't love the idea of TKing up Nick Fury, killing any of your things? I wish you could find a way to give Nick Fury 2 targets so we could kill 2 Ultron drones. If he could do that, or if there's a way to really kill 2 Ultron drones in the first turn, then I think it can beat Quinjet. So the person who thinks of that is good. And Krang is stupid. Everybody should stop playing Krang. Krang is not good enough.
It's like calling all in, and all of a sudden they get a king on the river. Like, oh yeah, that.
Krang sucks a bag of clicks right now, and nobody seems to note that. No. I saw so many Krangs because it's point and shoot. It feels easy, and it feels like it should win. But it's up there with back in the day when people had Flurry Blaze, and they're like, it does 12 damage. Sometimes if everything goes perfect, it does 12 damage. But I'm not investing 170 points for a charge character with a 5 range. I don't care what stat bumps he gets. He's charged with a 5 range. That's not good enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know. Oh, yeah. Anybody you think great in the meta right now? What would you play?
Well, right now I'm for some reason can't seem to leave the shifting focus Superman alone.
You just like high defense?
It's not so much the high defense. I like coming out with the wall Superman and trying to deal 6 to 7 damage with him.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. It just feels like everything has evaders. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to chase down a Superman robot with my team base in Worlds, and I didn't win because he had Shape Change, Super Senses, Impervious.
Yeah.
And this is Superman, Batman, Robot, which isn't a good figure, but everything's pretty good with that many evaders, and I just feel like I can't play something unless I can just cut through it somehow, you know?
And that's another thing I have to do is I have to get back to actually adapting to the meta instead of just playing what I like. You know, when it comes to the higher competitive, I mean, and that ends up being the problem is I end up like, you know, getting into the high competitive teams, not finding myself interested in them enough to actually win with them. And then I just start another team with a joke and it's like, hey, this is kind of funny. And why is it working in a lot of cases? So, you
know, I want a ton of stuff with Metro Nightcrawler. And I used to be the exact same thing as you, right? Like my goal was, I'm like, well, I want to come up with something that's my team that I'm kind of known for. And Matt Esbrook said to me, he said, Scott, what happens if the best players play the best teams?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a really good point. And once I changed that, that's when I won, you know, Dragon Con twice. I finished, I think, 2nd in Flixathon. You know, I started doing amazing all the time. And part of the reason I won this national championship, because I didn't try to just come up with my own thing. I realized that playing these teams is very difficult, and you have to know your team to such a big point that you have to be able to know how to play their team. So if you're thinking about your team and how to play that, then you've already probably lost in the major competitives. You need to know your team inside and out. And then you need to know how to beat their team. So you need to have play tested as their teams. And that is one reason I did know how to beat Pat so well, because I had played that matchup maybe 35 times. And I knew how to play the Quinjet. I knew, you know, I knew all that stuff. So, you know, I knew what to do. There was a high chance of me not doing it. I mean, it wasn't like really hard rolls. It's just, you know, when you have to roll 6, like 8 times for everything to go right, that becomes tough.
Yeah.
So it's not like horrible odds. It's just eventually it feels like you're going to miss. And I just didn't that game. But ultimately, you know, don't be shy away from playing just the best figures.
Yeah.
Heroclix has a lot more of it than it used to because they make stuff that's stupid and broken all the time now. Back in the day, you know, you could make an argument that like Joker was broken because he had outwit and poison and mastermind. How do you get through him? But you know, it's not. But there was reason to be like, well, you could just outwit him. And nowadays, you're like, you can't outwit people.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why? Oh, because it's showing on their, not showing on their dial. It's from somewhere else on Outwittable. And you're like, So.
Yeah, ignoring is the new outwit.
Yes.
Nobody outwits anymore.
I've been lobbying this for like 2 years now. Nick Fury's outwit should be what outwit is.
Yeah.
Why isn't it? Like, why? You pay less for the things on your card. 25 points to up a stat and get impervious because of Brainiac. That should be more outwittable because cheaper to get. If you had how much would it cost for a figure to have unoutwittable impervious and choose one stat up higher? They would factor that in at 50 to 70 points.
Easily, yeah.
Easily. And they're like, nah, meh, whatever. It doesn't balance. It's like Protected back in the day. Like Protected should have been 35 points. So
yeah. And then instead everybody paid 35 points for Protecteds. Plural.
Yes. Yes. And then once I did that, they're like, just kidding, psych, print and play. What?
Or 10% rule.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I completely forgot about 10% rule. Yeah, 10% of your team can't be. Oh, yeah.
Oh, darn. So I can only get 3 Protecteds in there.
I remember playing people who were playing a 200-point Superman with like 100 points of ID cards on him. And you'd be like, oh my gosh, the Superman's insane now. I miss feats. I think feats were better than a lot of things they had. But I understand with play testing and stuff like that and how many figures are out there, why they don't do them. Because you could easily create a feat that accidentally breaks a figure off the chain. So
yeah. Absolutely.
I miss the days of who has the bigger running shot and who is, who has a bigger running shot? Oh, they have a huge advantage because they can get first attack. And now it's just, I can hide behind this building. And now it's just like, oh, I see through all your figures and I super counter outwit you and I tag in a character like Marvel. What's that game? Capcom versus Marvel,
Capcom,
yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom. So.
All right. So with all of that, Scott, I want to thank you for joining us on the show. It's been a pleasure talking to you. We got some great insights from yourself, and you do definitely exemplify the amount of testing that needs to get done when you say you're doing 9 to 12 hours at a time.
I'm doing it once, though, just to be clear. Like, I'm literally doing it on Tuesday to Wednesday. So don't follow my example exactly. But the difference between my team and a lot of teams is we don't go out. So like everybody else goes out and drinks and stuff like that. We feverishly, nerdishly sit in the hotel room or sit at a place and just play until we can't think, and then we sleep, and then we get up in the morning and we play and we do nothing but because we don't get to play test. But if you have a play testing group at home, just play test.
Yeah, then you can go out and
yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. For those of you watching, I have a podcast with Kevin DeFruz, who is mildly good at Heroclix, but not really that good. But he knows Pat. He's very good. He's the Robin of Pat, so that's really nice. So it's criticalclicks.com. So check that out. Very excited, and thank you for having me on Merry Clicks, man. Very excited to be here. Big fan, actually. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, yeah. If we're the reverse, is you have to earn the calling. Once again, thank you, Scott. And if you want to check out Scott's podcast, Critical Clicks, check in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. Put a link down there. They've got 2 episodes up now, and looking forward to
be up by the time this is up.
So. Look at that. So we're working in internet time now. And once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. And we'll hopefully have a chance to talk to Scott again down in Atlanta, because I think we're going to be doing a couple casts down there that we're working on.
Absolutely.
For the Rock World Cup, because that actually culminates at the end of mine and Amber's honeymoon.
Nice.
So we're doing the paper wedding in a couple weeks. It's actually quite exciting. So
wow. Is she playing?
She's doing the social media. She's been asked by Howard to do a lot of work with social media down there. So she's going to be giving updates to all the events that are going on there. Who's doing what, how each player is doing in the tournament. She's probably going to be giving Might be helping Terry. We're not sure about the full extent of how
You could marry this girl 3 times, dude. Marry this girl like again and again and again. She's having her honeymoon and ending it with a Heroclix tournament. That's 1 in 100 million people that would do that.
I met her playing Heroclix. That's where it started. So Heroclix
really?
has to be involved. Yep.
Really?
Absolutely.
Wow, you can find love at Heroclix. Actually, you probably are the one person who did, and now nobody else can. By statistics, you did the one thing, and now I think it's done for everybody else. You took it. Now you don't find love at Heroclix. It's done. I
spent it all.
He did it all. He spent all of our luck.
But it's like Beyonce says, if you like it, you got to put a ring on it. All right. Without further ado,
Becky with the good hair. All right.
Everybody, have a good day, and thank you again, Scott, for joining us.